Okay, coming up, I have a podcast in video format. Video podcast. It is also available anywhere you listen to your podcast. If you would rather just listen to it, that is acceptable as well. It's an interview with my good friend, Jen Chapin, at her YouTube channel, Jen Chapin. Here's Jen. Welcome to the podcast. This is Christine from Frugal Fit Mom, the Frugal Fit Mom podcast, and I am doing an interview today with a highly successful YouTuber, mother of two, working mom. She does everything. My friends, this is Jen Chapin from the YouTube channel, Jen Chapin.
Welcome. Very original. Thank you for having me.
So, I actually love your story. You came from, let's call it very broke.
When I was a child, yes.
Yes, pretty poor, worked your tail off, got your nursing degree, did your job, started YouTube, were successful there, are successful now in both. This is the American dream.
Some would say that, yes.
Yes, some would say that. You came from nothing.
Yes.
And you've built this life, which is fabulous. So give us a rundown on that.
Yeah, so I grew up in the Midwest. My parents got divorced when I was pretty young. I think I was around 8 or 9. I don't think my parents had the same type of work ethic that you or I have. And so I really did grow up, I would say below the poverty line, but I wasn't really aware of it at that time. And so I always knew that I wanted to not have my children worry about things like that. I wanted to make sure that they were well provided for. So I put myself through college and have the student loans to prove it.
And didn't you just pay those off?
I did, yeah.
Congrats.
Fantastic. Yeah, we paid off my husband's last year too. It's a good life. I don't know, like it's interesting how your childhood shapes you. And mine just basically turned me into a workaholic, but it's fine.
Is that because you didn't want to experience that life ever again? Is that what it is?
Yes, I think so. But then also, yeah, I mean, I've also done a lot of therapy, so it's always interesting how the experiences we go through as kids, like if we feel abandoned or whatever, then you're always sort of trying to soothe that part of yourself, maybe by like proving something to people. I don't know. I wouldn't trade my life or my situation for anything. I do worry though, like about and I don't know, tell me, maybe you feel this way too, like about our kids, like not having to experience adversity. Is that going to have a negative impact on their work ethic?
Do you mean adversity in what way specifically? Like not struggling with money as a youth?
Yeah.
You mean like that? Okay, so mine's slightly different than yours, because I would say my mother and father grew up a little bit like you. Pretty broke families, very, very, they didn't make a lot of money, like really poor. And so my parents were the you version. Mm-hmm. Right? So they worked really hard. I would say we were middle class. We did not have toys at all. We didn't take vacations. I mean, we went camping here and there.
Yeah.
But we also had plenty of food on the table, and we had, clothes, and it was whatever. All of our needs were taken care of for sure. And I went to the movies occasionally.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that was my childhood growing up. So I had much less experience with lack of the necessities of life, perhaps, maybe than you. And I turned out okay. I have a pretty good work ethic. So maybe that's partly a personality thing.
That could be.
Maybe it's partly how you're raised. Maybe it's being involved in sports as a kid. So I knew how to work hard physically, so mentally.
Did you have a job when you were a teenager?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. But yeah, yes. I think that teaches a lot of work ethic also. So
I think if your kids are a little bit younger than mine, hers are 10 and 13.
Yeah.
And I have 10 through 18. I think as long as the kids learn how to work, your kids are in sports, my kids are in sports, you learn a ton of life skills. Being involved in sports as a youth and as a teenager, I think all of those things can be really beneficial without having to struggle through living under the poverty line.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good perspective. I like that perspective. Yeah, and I think too with kids, making sure that they grow up with a not just having everything handed to them, even if you are financially able to hand things to them, having them work for things. My kids they get an allowance, but they have to do chores to get the allowance, and teaching them responsibility and empathy. Honestly, I think that's one of the things that I you know, sometimes you feel like you're really screwing up as a parent, or like you don't know what you're doing, and then, you know, your kids will be like empathetic towards someone in a bad situation, and you're like, okay, I'm doing an okay job. Like, it's okay. Like,
sometimes despite our best efforts to mess them up, the kids turn out all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you work a lot, Jen.
Yeah, I do. So my day job, I guess you could say, my 9 to 5. Yeah, so I've been a nurse for 17 years now, and I work as a healthcare consultant, so I don't do bedside nursing anymore. But I went back to school when my kids were little. They were like 4 and 7 or something like that. Well, anyway, I went back to school and got my master's, so that has really, I was really proud that I was able to do that, and that obviously opened up some more career opportunities than I had previously. So yeah, so I work as a healthcare consultant. We go around to hospitals all across the country and consult on different, you know, patient care issues, quality issues, patient experience, things like that. So it's a really fun job. I travel pretty frequently for work. I've been trying to like dial it back a little bit because it's not, I found that it's fun, but it's not always great on my mental health to be gone all the time. And my kids obviously don't like it when I'm gone all the time either. So I really try to limit it to like 1 week a month, 2 weeks a month is like the absolute most. But yeah, I love my job, and I am one of those weird online entrepreneurs that, you know, I always feel kind of weird in the online entrepreneur space because the goal for everyone is like, when are you going to quit your day job?
Right.
When are you going to quit your day job?
Everyone says that.
Yeah. When are you going to quit your day job? And I'm like, I don't want to quit my day job. So in some ways I feel like that has maybe hindered me a little bit on YouTube because I can't put as much time and effort into it as I could if I didn't have a 9 to 5. But I don't know, it's really important for me that I keep that part of myself because I really like health insurance, and and I like,
me too. I love health insurance.
I love health insurance, and I love having a 401k, and I just feel like I worked really hard for my education and my career, and I enjoy what I do. Now, would it be different if I hated my day job? Then I would then yes.
Or maybe you didn't make very much. Yes, for sure. Like there have been times in my life, I would say too, or maybe even when my kids were really little, where if this YouTube thing would have happened to me then, I probably could have saw myself leaving my job at that point. Right.
Because when you kind of weigh the pros and cons, it would have turned out differently. But also a large part of my identity and like some of the content I share on YouTube is about being a working mom, and I get comments from women all the time like, I relate to you because I work outside the home too, and blah blah blah. And so that part of me is like important to keep, and I do feel like if I
sorry about the saw noise, the neighbors putting in new floors.
How rude.
Excuse me, sir, I'm trying to record a podcast over here. Sir, excuse me.
But I do feel like if I were to quit my job, that part of my content online would maybe lose a little bit of authenticity.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, and so even though I think another misconception is that YouTubers don't work. Like, I'm sure people tell you all the time, like, you don't have a job. Like, no, this is a this is a job.
It's an actual job.
And we don't just make Monopoly money, you know, so it's like...
Are you saying the money that I make from YouTube, I can actually spend at the grocery store?
You can.
They will give me goods in exchange for paper with ink on it.
That is right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing too, like about, I think a lot of people who start out on social media really don't start out, you know, with the idea that they're going to replace their income or quit their job or do whatever.
Not any of the people I know.
No,
like not maybe in our genre or people who started like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
None of us thought that.
It's funny because like when I first started making videos, like in the capacity I do now, like I told my husband, hey, I'm going to start putting grocery hauls on YouTube. And he's like, no one is going to watch that.
He's like laughing at you.
And I'm like, okay, whatever. So
I'll show you, bucko.
Yeah, that was just the motivation I needed. But yeah, I mean, my goal at first was just to make enough. I thought, okay, if I can make $800 a month, that'll pay for our groceries. For the month, you know. That
was staggering to me back at the beginning. I couldn't imagine ever making anywhere close to that because I was making like $25 a month, $30 a month. And so like my husband and I were like, could you imagine if I got a payout, which was $100 limit? So you had to be over 100 before they'd pay you. I was like, could you imagine if we got $100 every month? Like we did that for a year.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? And that took forever to even get to that point.
It's an interesting conversation to have too, because we were just chatting about this earlier about how, you know, sometimes in the mom YouTuber space, there's negativity around, you know, monetizing your content, doing sponsorships, making money in general. I think, first of all, because I think that unless you make videos, you don't really understand the amount of work and planning that goes into it. And I don't think that anyone should work for free.
Why not? Especially, why shouldn't they work for free, Jen?
Especially women. Like we deserve to get paid for our time and compensated for our time, especially if people value your content. They should want to support that. But I do feel like it's a little bit skewed for women on social media. I think that women in general, not just on YouTube, but I mean, there's just more negativity towards women, and especially when we try to make money and monetize our, subsidize our work a little bit.
What's interesting is I grew up with parents who taught me that I could have anything I wanted as long as I wanted to work for it. And I was never told that I couldn't have it because I was a girl. Never. Mm-hmm. So I grew up thinking that I could have anything and do anything that anyone could do. Men, women, whatever. I felt that way my whole life until I started YouTube. And when I started making some money on YouTube, because remember, it's years before I made any money. But once I started making a little bit of money on YouTube, I realized that what you are saying is true. It was shocking to me, something I didn't learn until my mid to late 30s, is that women, especially in our genre, I'd say the mom era, are really, we get a lot of negative attention for making any money at all. And I think it's the craziest thing.
It is crazy.
I don't understand why women don't want other women to make money. They pave the way for everybody else. Why can't we all make money?
Right.
Like what? Yeah, I agree with you. I've definitely seen the disparity between men and women on YouTube, on social media in general. It seems like the 20-year-old, like the younger crowd, females are fine to make money for some reason. Mm-hmm. But if you're, I don't know, if you're 40, you're not allowed to. I'm not really sure what it is.
You're past your prime.
Yeah, it's over for you. Just give it up. I don't really know what it is, but I have seen men get praised for things I get attacked for.
Men are seen as the providers. So it's okay if they, make money and do brand deals and whatever, but
that guy just won't quit with the force.
But I also think that it's one of the reasons why, and sometimes if I do Q&As and people will be like, why do you do sponsored videos or why do you do sponsored content? I think there's a couple different answers of that, at least for me. You can weigh in on this also. Well, first of all, I think it pushes you creatively.
Yes.
It also gives you motivation and a deadline to do things by. I am someone who's very motivated by time constraints and deadlines. And if I did not have that, I know for sure I wouldn't put out as much content as I do. Mm-hmm. And then depending on, a lot of factors on YouTube, on how many views you get, on what the ad rates are. Personally, for me, if I didn't do any sponsored content, I just would not get paid enough to continue to do YouTube. I think I figured it out one time and I would be making $6 an hour or something like that. And that's just not, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with getting paid less than minimum wage.
a lot of people are not okay with getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
$6 an hour.
Yeah. And honestly, when I first started YouTube, if you would have told me oh my gosh, you get to do videos with Walmart, Barilla, Clorox, we're talking household names. I just think it's so cool.
Things you use anyway.
I think it's so cool. I don't know. I just think stuff like that.
I got brought a MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, I did them too.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
I've personally been using MyFitnessPal since 2012.
Me too.
For 10 years. I've actually just been using it on my own for 10 years.
Yep.
And I was like, this is a company I've used forever before I ever started YouTube, before I got a smartphone. No, right when I got a smartphone.
Yeah.
I swore I used it on my computer before I had a smartphone.
Yeah.
I did. So that was super exciting to me. If it's a company, for me, if it's a company I like anyway, or maybe a new one that I think is a cool idea or a good product, I don't see the problem in putting in an ad spot. Here's the thing, I have 4 kids. That's a lot of college. That's a lot of driver's insurance. They're kind of getting their licenses right now. Ouch. It's a lot. It's very stressful as a parent.
I just registered my kids for swim, and I only have 2 kids, and it was almost $700.
And you did this.
I know, right?
Thing.
But yeah, it's expensive.
And then you're like, sign me up with another sponsor because someone's got to pay for this crap.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a lot of expenses as the kids get older. And as I'm trying to like bump up retirement, the 401k, everything's getting more expensive. Everything. And I mean, I don't know why someone would be angry at me for trying to provide for my family, because that's all I'm doing.
Part of it too is because the online, you know, making money online is a fairly new concept. I mean, obviously
not anymore.
But for some people it is. So
Okay.
so tell me this, like, let's say you were to open a boutique in your town,
Okay.
and it blew up and you sold a ton of clothes, and you were there every day, you know, working, getting inventory, selling like physical goods.
Right. Yes.
There would be no one who would berate you
No.
for making a lot of money doing that, because you're, you know, in a physical store selling this, you know. Well, but like in the online space, it's not physical goods. It's content, it's education, it's information, it's value. Somehow
let me
you're
ask
bringing
you this.
value.
How long have we been watching TV and movies?
Oh yeah, yeah.
How long has that been going on?
And why is Facebook free? Why is YouTube free? It's because of advertising.
Because of ads.
Yeah.
The radio is free.
Yeah.
Instagram is free. TikTok is free. They all have ads.
Do your kids call commercials ads?
I think they do.
Mine do, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's a commercial.
It's an ad.
They're like, what?
Like if we go to a hotel and they actually see like
Yeah.
actual TV,
Yeah.
like cable, because we don't have that. They're like, what? Oh, look at this. 3 minutes of 5 minutes of ads?
Ads.
Like they're not,
It's
they're
a commercial.
commercial. They don't even know what that is anymore.
Yeah.
Jen, you're a YouTuber. You have how many subscribers now?
I
your
think
channel?
I'm up to 124,000.
That's a lot. 124,000. That is a lot of subscribers. So I know you're on YouTube, you like YouTube, you consume YouTube.
I do a lot.
So give me like 2 channels that people would be surprised that you watch. What are they? What are they about?
Zachary Michael, who Christine introduced me to.
Did I really?
Yeah, and I sort of like fell down this rabbit hole of like internet
Drama.
girl world drama, like, yes. And so I would say that's like probably the one genre that I watch that is really not related to the content that you or I produce at all. But I don't know.
He is the nicest.
Yes, he has a really great personality.
He's really funny.
I could just like listen to him talk about paint drying and it would be funny.
Yeah,
you know?
it would be funny.
By the way, I actually go to Chicago like quite frequently for work.
You should go meet up.
So I know. So we had it planned one time, and then I think he was sick or something, and I don't know. We'll get her done sometime. Another one would be. Let me look.
You can look. While you look. I've talked about this one that I watch. I've talked about it a little bit recently, but there's this mountain biking channel. They're husband and wife. They're professional mountain bikers. That's what they do. Their channel is called Sid and Mackie. They do 1 video a week. I'm obsessed because she had this like horrible nerve injury and basically couldn't walk, and she had to like relearn how to use her body.
Oh wow.
And so she was off the bike for 2 years, and then I've been watching her journey back into like getting back into fitness and back into racing. You know, she wasn't at the level she was, and it's been really a struggle. It's so realistic. She's so relatable that I adore their channel. If you're into mountain biking or outdoorsy stuff, I just love her journey. I love both of them. They're so kind. They're such skilled athletes, but they're so humble. They're not braggy at all. I just really enjoy that. But that has nothing to do with what I do.
Yeah. I would say the other thing that I watch is ASMR. I love
Stop.
ASMR.
You do?
I love it. Yes.
I kind of don't like it.
That's fine. I get that. And it's mostly just like at night, because sometimes I have like a hard time. I don't have really trouble sleeping, but sometimes like to get to sleep, my mind won't stop. So then I'll listen to it then. But I agree. Some people think it's creepy. But it is a huge genre on, I mean, millions of, some of these channels have millions of subscribers, and it's crazy.
Well, I'm in the wrong genre.
I know. What did we do? Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah. We talked about that earlier. We should have started a dog channel.
Yeah, if I had started a dog channel, I would have made it.
That's right.
I would have had the beach house. I don't know which beach, but it would be on a beach. That's what it would be.
The Mississippi River.
That's where I belong, right there. You can't handle this California life.
I know, right?
What is current book you're reading?
Jeanette McCurdy, I'm Glad My Mom Died.
Okay.
I understand that title is very divisive, and it's very visceral to say that.
Right.
But it is so interesting to hear. I'm actually listening to it on Audible. But it's so interesting to hear what she went through as a child actor. And she was really profoundly abused by her mother. Mm-hmm. I have not always had the best relationship with my mom either. And so listening to that is very interesting to me. And it's amazing what people can go through and come out the other end as like normal, well-adjusted human beings.
Right.
Obviously with lots of help and therapy and whatever. It's really eye-opening, and it makes you think about children acting, I don't know, it's not an industry, but whatever, like kids in films and on TV.
Yeah,
you know,
I would say child actors is probably an industry.
Yeah,
yes.
she talks about how, you know, she just became so obsessed with her appearance because, I mean, you're always on camera, and she had developed multiple eating disorders, and how her mom really her mom started teaching her when she was like 11 how to calorie restrict so she could stay young and get these roles. And anyway, it's a really good, it's a memoir obviously, but yeah. It's a great book.
Okay, cool. I on Audible am listening to No Time Like the Future, Michael J. Fox.
Oh,
which is endlessly fascinating.
Is it what type of genre?
I would say it's a memoir of his life, of him retiring from acting because of his Parkinson's, and then finding his way back into doing different characters and not having to hide his Parkinson's and use it in the character, and dealing with mortality as his health worsens. I love Michael J. Fox. Mm-hmm. I've been a fan my whole life. I've seen like everything.
Back to the Future.
Everything he's ever done. What is that? The Secret to My Success. You see that movie?
I have not, no.
It's so good. I love Michael J. Fox. He's so charming. I just love him. And then I've seen him in later work. You know, have you seen The Good Wife? He plays this horrible character in The Good Wife.
Yes.
And then I'm watching Scrubs right now, and he does a character arc in Scrubs. And I just adore him. So it's fun to hear him talk about his career post Everyone Knows About Parkinson's, after he technically retired.
Yeah.
So that's really fun. I'd recommend.
Parkinson's is a terrible
disease.
My husband's grandmother had that, and it's a terrible death. I mean, obviously he survived for a very long time with it, so you know, the treatment is better now, but it's they've made such huge advances in medicine across the board. Like MS.
I have a cousin that has MS, and then I have a good friend that's been HIV positive he's still alive. But like, he was diagnosed in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Back then, that didn't happen. Right. And so just to see how medicine has improved and extended his life dramatically has been just amazing, I think. Okay, let's go back to YouTube. What is your favorite thing about being a YouTuber? Favorite?
My favorite thing? I think just interacting with like my audience and talking to people in the comments, and I think too just the connections with people that I've made through it is something that I never would have had previously. Like my husband can't conceive that, you know, we would be friends with people online. Like, he thinks that's weird.
Is he ever online?
Yeah, no.
No.
But I mean, I've made a lot of good friends, like not just other YouTubers like Christine, but even viewers you know, who I text with regularly, or, you know, I'll go and have dinner with them if I happen to be in their town while I'm traveling for work, or just, so I think I'm an extrovert by nature, and so it's really energizes me to connect with people. I suppose if you're an introvert, that would just exhaust the hell out of you, but
your husband's an introvert.
Yes,
mine is also. Yes. So I feel like, I'm an extrovert as well, and it creates a different community. But I don't know why it would be weird. Online dating's been a thing for forever. It's no different than that, but for not dating, for friends.
Yeah, that's true.
He just needs to get with the times.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's your favorite thing. What is the thing you hate about YouTube, being on YouTube? What do you hate?
What do I hate?
That one's easy for me.
I think at some point it does get the grind part of it gets a little exhausting. I wouldn't necessarily say that I hate it, but I feel like at some point it becomes a numbers game, you know, and you just feel like you're under pressure to put out a certain type of video, and you know, kind of just like continuously like looking at the numbers and looking at the data. And like in my previous life, I was a clinical analyst for many years, and so
you like data.
I like data. I did healthcare data for many years, and so this is obviously not healthcare data, but it's still, I mean,
it's still analyzing data.
Yeah, it's still analyzing data, and so that part kind of can get in my head a little bit. And so I think it's really important, like just as with any job, you know, you have to see yourself separate from your content. That is not a personal failing or a reflection on you if your video doesn't perform well or whatever. And then I would say the other thing is, I mean, obviously like the negativity, but I've gotten better at, you know, not giving it attention, which I think is all you can do is just ignore it. But it's very difficult because I do feel that sometimes people don't realize that we're human beings. Like,
yeah. I was just saying my
yeah.
most hated thing is about the negativity. Not that I disregard feedback, because that's not what
that's different.
I encourage feedback. I really do. I will listen to you if you have legit feedback. But we're talking about people that are just legit
hurtful,
mean and hurtful for no reason. It's not even that it happens. It's that people are learning to be mean with no repercussions.
Yes.
Because if you were mean to someone like that in person, there would be
you just wouldn't
repercussions. You wouldn't be, first of all, and if you were, you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Or fired from your job, or you'd lose all your friends, or like something would happen. And online, you just have you have permission to be a bully.
Yeah.
And you learn how to be cruel. And I think we need the opposite. I think we need to learn how to be kinder. And so it's just, I think that's the wrong vibe.
What are the top 3 negative comments that you get over and over?
Over and over?
Yeah.
How dare I use olive oil, like expensive olive oil? That's not frugal. I get reamed for, because my name's Frugal Fit Mom.
People think
I get bashed a lot for things that people qualify as not frugal, or they'll do the holier than thou. I'm more frugal than you because
it's a contest.
Yeah, because it's a contest. I don't know. And that's not really mean. It's weird. It's a odd comment I get a lot. Yeah. Am I trying to pick mean ones? Mean ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything about my hair or my face.
Oh my gosh.
They hate my hair. If I cut it, they hate it. If I color it, they hate. Like I dyed it purple.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I ended up putting the word hair in my comment filter because I was so sick to death. And what's funny is it didn't catch up on camera correctly. It came across as like pinky. Mm-hmm. It was purple. It was dark purple in person. And the camera couldn't catch it right. And people hated it. And everyone told me. Everyone told me how much they hated my hair. And I'm like, yeah, well, first of all, because I can go fix it now. And second of all, it's my hair.
It's
like, why do you care?
It's on my head.
And then I do struggle with a little bit of adult acne also. And man, people have a lot of things to say about that. What's wrong with your face? Why?
Oh my gosh.
Why do you have cold sores all over your mouth? And I'm like, they're actually not. They're zits. Thank you for bringing it up. I guess my concealer didn't work. Like, people comment on that all the time. What else? I don't know. Mean? I don't get a lot of mean ones anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I've been called a man. Like I look like a man. That one's pretty fun. What about you? What do you get?
I get some of like, you need to put down the camera and go spend time with your kids.
Yeah, okay.
Or like stuff, you know, stuff like that. Like people.
You don't have the camera going 24 hours. I know. It's not the Truman Show. Like, what is that? You do a 20-minute cooking video. What do they want you to do?
Yeah. And you know, to that point, you know, if my kids do say anything negative about their childhood, that's probably what they will say is that mom worked a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, I own it. But
you're welcome for that college education.
Yeah. And I mean, I do own it. I know that they'll say that, but also it's really important for me, not just for my daughter, but for my son too, to be like a positive role model in terms of like, what does it look like to work hard and, you know, and what kind of success do you have because of that? We all have baggage and our kids will say something about the way we raise them.
I'm sure.
Of course.
I say things about my parents.
Yeah.
It's their fault. I have food issues. I hoard cookies.
Oh yeah. Hoard cookies.
I do. I put an entire tub of Cool Whip on one slice of pumpkin pie, I will not apologize.
Yeah.
That's my parents' fault, by the way.
Yeah. I would say the other comment I get, and I've put, you know, filters in to block all these words, because at this point I don't even want to read it, because I don't want to see that. Like, I feel like my channel is the place where I get to say what goes and what doesn't go.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
And yeah. And so I get the comment a lot that I'm overweight and I'm unhealthy and I need to lose weight. Oh, thank you. I didn't realize.
Why does
I need to lose weight.
Why does anyone feel like it's their responsibility to comment on someone else's body?
Yeah.
In a negative way?
Regardless of whether,
Regardless.
I'm sure people tell you you're too thin.
Yeah, I get all of it.
Yeah.
You're too thin. You look like you gained weight. You look awful.
Gosh. Yeah.
Wait, this is Frugal Fit Mom. How dare cookies aren't fit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fit has nothing to do with cookies. It's about riding my mountain bike up a mountain, of which I need cookies to make it.
That's right. Carbs.
I need the carbs.
Yeah, I would say like the overweight, unhealthy comments, anytime you share food on YouTube.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
What someone told me once is that almost everyone eats food, and a lot of people have children, and so they always have opinions about those two things.
Yes.
Because they have experience. Most people eat, and so of course they have experience that they would like to give you some advice, either on eating or parenting, or one or the other.
Unsolicited advice.
Yes.
That comes across a lot. I get a lot of food advice. Quote advice.
Yeah.
End quote.
And it's funny to me that like someone perceives that their comment on the internet, you know, like me reading that from a stranger just would flip a switch in my head and say, oh my gosh,
you're right. I do use too much salt.
I did not know pizza rolls were unhealthy. I will stop buying them forever.
Okay, this one's funny. I sometimes get chewed out for like drinking a Diet Coke or an energy drink or something. It's usually a Diet Coke because I'm hamming it up for the camera. Okay, I'm being goofy. I'm being like weird for the camera.
Yeah.
I need to make the video 10 seconds longer so I can get mid-roll ads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's got to be 8 minutes.
It's got to be 8 minutes. So I'll like play around with it, like, I don't know, make it a big thing. And people are so weird because they're like, I can't believe your Diet Coke. That's so bad. Don't you know about the cancer-causing chemicals in that diet? I'm like, listen, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. I am not the only person drinking Diet Coke. Okay?
For sure.
For sure. Like, can't I make a joke in my video and enjoy my one treat? I have very few vices.
Yeah.
Let me have my cookies and Diet Coke.
Exactly. I actually started blocking like the word junk because people say junk food, processed.
Oh, really?
Processed. There's too much processed food. Like, and I feel like I cook a lot.
You do cook a lot.
And I feel like I buy like a good amount of like produce and like, anyway, but you know, people always have an opinion.
Yeah. They always try and tell me to be more like Bobby Parrish.
Oh gosh.
Always. They're like,
I have a lot of thoughts about that.
You need to go watch Bobby.
Thank you.
And I'm like, not everyone has Bobby's $1,000 a person a week grocery budget.
I think what bothers me too about him is that like I think he does make helpful content.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
But I think some of the stuff that he puts out there, I don't know is necessarily backed by research or, you know, and so and it's fine. I mean, like no one would accuse him of being unhealthy.
No. Some might accuse him of being too healthy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, his daughter is adorable though.
Don't you have his cookbook?
I do.
Is it pretty good?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Mental note.
But I also have a cookbook buying problem, so that really doesn't say much because I, at this point, have more cookbooks than
actual books.
Probably. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's pretty close because I was in Book of the Month Club for a long time, where I got 2 books a month, and I haven't read hardly any of them.
Okay, so you're saying you have so many cookbooks that you don't have enough days in your life to cook all the recipes that are
I don't even have enough bookshelves. I need more bookshelves.
Okay, let me ask you this. So your youngest is 10. Mm-hmm. So you can assume in 8 years, your kids will be gone.
That's the plan.
Okay, so in 8 years, what does your life look like?
So 8 years, I'll be 47, so I'll still be working. I think we will probably, I don't know, I try not to talk about this around my kids because they get very emotional. Like, how dare you ever sell my house that I grew up in? But I think at some point we'll probably sell the house, and then we want to get a place in Colorado. I love the mountains. Living in the Midwest my whole entire life, I just see mountains are just like
majestic.
They are. Like, I don't know. We were just actually in Colorado, and Adam and I were driving through Rocky Mountain National Park, and he goes, "Do you think people that live here just like take this for granted?"
No, we don't.
And I'm like, I hope not.
No,
like,
we do not.
But
we also have to go about our lives.
Yeah,
like, not every day is a vacation.
Even
like
staring at the mountains. Like,
we have to, go do the 24/7 hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would hope to maybe be able to buy a place there, and then it's my husband's dream to like split time between there and Kansas City because he's a big Chiefs fan, and so he's always wanted Chiefs season tickets. I hope that, my children are successful in their academics. Do I think everyone has to go to college? No. Am I having them go to college? Yes.
You have a master's degree. I would say you're pro-education, but you're also realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, depending on what you want to do with your life, I think that, once you have, obviously choose a field, choose a degree that is useful.
Yes.
Choose a degree that you're going to actually be able to make money with and have a career if that's what you want. But I do think it gives you an advantage in life. And I mean, there's research out there to show that like overall, college graduates have higher incomes and all of that. So yeah, hopefully my kids are going to college for something fun. I don't know. What I think is really exciting is that my son really wants to play football, and he's young now, but I hope that once he gets into high school, he's able to play football because he loves playing it.
Well, he's going to be tall.
He's a tall kid.
I think he'd be great.
Will I still be doing YouTube in 8 years? That's an interesting question. I don't know if I will be.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, as long as it's still fun for me, and as long as it is creatively fulfilling for me, and as long as I can get fairly compensated for my work, I think I'll continue to do it. But I do see a point in time where maybe I do step back from it. Are you still going to be doing YouTube in 8 years?
I have no idea. I can't even think past next year right now. Like, yeah. I'll do it next year. I want to see how next year goes. I wanted to try a few new videos just for my own fun times and see if people like it. I have some ideas. Or just kind of take it as it comes. You can't
pivot.
I need to pivot. You can't do the same content for 7 years, right? So I'm playing around with my creativity process at the moment. Okay, Jen, it's the end of your life. You get one last meal.
I was like, this is depressing.
Yeah, no, it's not depressing. It's about the food.
Okay.
What is your last meal?
Oh gosh. I just love like a good steakhouse dinner.
Yes.
Like I could like probably like a nice filet, a baked potato or some mac and cheese, some carby side, a good like blue cheese wedge salad, shrimp cocktail.
Dessert?
I'm not a huge dessert person, but if I were to choose, I would choose cheesecake. That's one thing that I do not mind spending money on. Is good restaurants.
Is a good restaurant.
Yes,
yeah.
I will drop some coin, but it's an experience.
Yes.
It's
I've been to 2 or 3. What'd you call them? Fine dining. Right, with like you don't order, they bring it to you. Right, like this is what the chef is making tonight, and the servings are quite small, but there's a lot of different options, like a lot of courses and whatever. And those are quite the experience.
It is.
The food is just phenomenal. And it's really, really fun. Because usually my mom pays for it.
Oh, there you go. So that's even better.
So that's fantastic. So Jen, people want to find you on the internet. Where are they going to go?
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. Weird, right?
Weird. What? What's your channel name again?
Yeah, so you just go to to YouTube and type in Jen Chapin. My channel will pop up. I also just released a meal planning course, which was really fun to make. So I have that linked over on my channel. So if you struggle with meal planning, I would recommend that you take the class. You know, I talk a lot in the course about how I'm not perfect at it either, but it can really help alleviate your stress during the week.
I took the course. There's a lot of info.
Yeah, it was fun to make. Info. So yeah, so check that out.
You also have a cookbook?
I do have a cookbook. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that's another thing that
it's
really,
on Amazon.
Yeah, that really, I think without YouTube, obviously, would never had an opportunity to write a cookbook. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, it's called the Essential Pantry Cookbook. It is on Amazon, and essentially, it's the cookbook is based on a core list of pantry ingredients, 80 ingredients, and every single recipe in the book you can make out of just those ingredients. So some may call it frugal even.
You might call it frugal, actually. Yes, I'll leave all of Jen's information and links or whatever in the notes, so you can check out any of those things if you would like to. Thanks, Jen, for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
All right, talk next time.